Please subscribe to the channel to show your support and keep me motivated.
So let's try to configure the source now in the Cribl. We have seen in the previous videos how to bring up your own Cribl cloud instance, right? So now we will see how to start configuring the sources for the Cribl so the data gets started ingesting to Cribl. Basically, it's not going to store anything here. So I have explained you about sources and destinations. So once you configure the source to start forwarding the data towards Cribl, then you will have to configure the destinations as well, because by default Cribl, I think it had some limited resources available to retain your data, right? So it just plays the kind of mediator role in between. So whatever formatting you wants to do, extractions, in simple terms, you just use Cribl to fine tune your data, right, before actually uh, forwarding it to the destination. Those are the common use cases where you use Cribl. So now we will see how to start configuring sources. So this is the Cribl instance that I have brought up for myself, and then so this is running with the default worker group. If you go there, okay, let's go to sources, and then so in this video we'll see how to configure the Splunk source for Cribl. So we'll try to post data from Splunk in universal forwarder to Cribl. So for that, we have the option of Splunk source here, and you get two options here. So leveraging any of these, you can start pushing data to Cribl, either using hack token or via TCP as well. It supports TCP. So this is the generic way which you use to forward the data from Splunk UF to indexers, right? So we can leverage TCP protocol as well, or if you want to go ahead with hack token, you can use this one. So let's pick TCP here, and it has by default configuration, which it accepts the data from all the sources. It's enabled to read the data on 9997. Then it has SSL settings enabled. So we may have to disable it because we are just going to try it out. We will not be using SSL set for this POC, right? So okay, let's try to configure the Splunk UF first. So I have provisioned this instance here in AWS Cloud. Let's connect to it and then try to install Splunk UF first. Cool. So I have logged into the instance and we will be downloading the Splunk UF and then we'll install it quickly. So let's pick universal forwarder. Ours is Linux, so we'll go to the appropriate OS here and then 64-bit OS. Let's copy this star link and then just download it here. Okay, so it's downloaded. Let's unzip it. It's done. We can remove the jar file now. It's no longer needed. Okay, now let's start this event. Start and then we are starting it for the first time. So accept the license. Okay, so it's installed. Let's see if it's running now. Perfect, it's running. Now let's try to configure the outputs.conf. So I'm sure you know by now how to configure the outputs and what's the use of that to connect. So you might have done it to connect with the indexers so far, but let's see how to configure it for the Cribl. So the process remains same. We just need to create the TCP out group. So we will be using system local. Let's set up outputs.conf, and then we will create one TCP out group for Cribl source, right? The IP, we will see what is the IP. So that you can pick from your Cribl stream. If you go to overview, you will see ingress IP. So that is the IP that you need to hit to send the data to this Cribl instance. Let me rephrase. Yeah, so this is the ingress IP. Let's copy and configure it here in the UI. And then we have seen that source, right? Splunk TCP. So this is already enabled to listen data on 9997. So we will configure the same port here. And if you notice, it's similar to what we do for Splunk indexers, right? So now let's save it. Okay, I think something is wrong. Let me redo. TCP out, Cribl source, and then server with port 7. Something is wrong with the escape character, I think. Let me cross check. Okay, outputs. Yeah, okay, it's a TCP out Cribl source, and then with the Cribl IP and port. So after making any config change, we need to restart Splunk, right? So let's do that. So once this restart is done, let's go back to Cribl and see if you see any live streaming or any logs here. And in fact, you can validate chart as well. So just wait for a few minutes because it takes some time. But you might not see any data here because the SSL was enabled and we haven't configured, right? So we should see similar errors in the Splunk logs. Let's validate those logs, Splunk, right? And then let's check Splunk logs. Okay, do you see any error? One, applying quarantine. Okay. So no error as of now. Okay, I just see the warnings here. No errors as of now. Let's go back to Cribl and see here. No traffic here, right, as of now. So let's continue watching these logs for some time and then we'll conclude what's wrong. So as of now, it's just adding this test to the quarantine and then unquarantining it. So okay, has been blocked or blocked for this kind of thing. Okay, I see this message now. It says review the receiving system's health in the Splunk monitoring console. Okay, it is probably not accepting the data. So maybe we are seeing this due to that SSL side. So let's rephrase it once and then we'll try to disable that SSL. So no hits here as of now, right? So let's try to disable the SSL once. Save it. Yeah, now let's see if any change is there in the Splunk logs. Okay, so just wait for a minute or two and then observe these logs. Okay, so now if you see here, right, it's able to connect to that destination. And if you see, I am no longer seeing those errors. So let's go back to Cribl, refresh it and see if you have started receiving data now. Still nothing. So it may be here in next couple of minutes. I think it's in transit. So just allow it a minute and then I think we should be able to see logs here coming from that UF. We haven't configured any specific logs. So by default, you will see just these Splunk UF internal logs at the Cribl end, right? So let's open this, go to live data. Yeah, perfect. So now you can see that we have started receiving the logs from that UF, right? And so yeah, so you can see in chart as well how many events we received in last 10 minutes. So the problem was initially with the TLS SSL certificate because we haven't configured. So that's why the Splunk UF was unable to connect, was unable to communicate with the Cribl instance. It was failing. As soon as we disabled the set in use, UF is able to connect and it's able to forward the logs to Cribl, right? So now after receiving logs here, you can do the formatting. You can just customize, fine tune whatever way you want. If you want to drop out some events here before forwarding them to the destination, you are free to do all that here. You can do field extraction. You can create your own custom fields before forwarding the logs. So all that can be done here in Cribl. And in our next video, we will see how to do that actually, how to create the pipelines, how to create the packages to extract the fields, and then maybe in the same video or in the next one uh, after that we will see configuring the destination as well. Then we will see how the data is being forwarded to the destination. So I think that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video then. Thanks.